Technology has been identified as one of the critical sectors in South Africa that will play a fundamental role in boosting economic recovery. And according to Investec, there's still an untapped potential that exists: women. And despite the massive strides made, women still make up a substantially low presence of the workforce in IT and related technology sectors. To tell us more about why this is the case and how this can possibly be corrected, let's now speak to the Chief Information Officer at Investec Specialist Bank, Shabhana Thaver. Shabhana, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here, Sampiwe.
Now, let's start with the elephant in the room, Shabhana. Why is the local tech sector still not diverse and there isn't enough women sitting at the head of the table?
Well, there's certainly global trends across, the underrepresentation of women in the technology space. And the global trends actually just indicate, basically, women only take up 25% of tech-related jobs in the top 10 global companies at the moment. And in South Africa specifically, there's a 2 to 5 ratio women to men where, 2 women to every 5 men in South Africa actually graduate with a technology degree. I mean, the issues and concerns, I like to call it out in 2 different parts: the systemic concerns and there's the workplace concerns. Mm-hmm. So the systemic concerns are actually basically an industry expectation that has actually been created over a long period of time. Actually, it's over decades, around gender bias and stereotypes, as well as beliefs at home, that kind of relate to the fact that, sciences are more masculine and, technology are boys' toys. And again, I'm going to stress that it's industry expectation. So it's a perception. And, women's tech abilities are often underestimated, in this kind of thinking. On the workplace concerns, on the other side, though, it's for those, or it's related to those women that do actually take up technology, and then, they sometimes swap out their careers or find it difficult or challenging. And again, research and statistics also show that, they need support from senior leaders. They're looking for mentorship and they're looking for female role models sitting in the technology space specifically. Mm-hmm. There's a vast number of opportunities for us here.
Now, Shabhana, in your opinion, where do we even start in terms of pushing for diversity and inclusivity of women in the tech industries?
Well, I like to call this, when I look at this rebalancing of the equality equation and solving for this leaky pipeline, I think what we do need to start off is focusing on pushing away the gender bias and the stereotype thinking to help women actually take up more of tech opportunities. And I like to call something called the three E's, actually, I refer to it. The first one is exposure, and it's to create interest and spark curiosity in technology for women. So basically increasing the literacy around what technology means through like coding camps and things like that. Also, there's the extracurricular activities that we can do, solve real world problems with women in a female entrepreneurship kind of style, just to help women enroll more in computer sciences and spark their interest. The second E I called excitement. In everything that we do, we need to have passion. So create excitement, create a flavor, create a hunger, make it just a wonderful experience to know that this is the future of the world in terms of technology. And the last E, which I think is really, really critical, is it's around encouragement. It's such an important piece to be able to create and foster an inclusive culture in the organization and it's not just for women, it's for diversity in general, that people feel like they belong. And this role model, mentorship model is so critical to help, women with their, create a positive influence on their self-efficacy and help with some imposter syndrome. Just by telling your story, it creates aspiration. The only way you can create aspiration is if you tell a story. You can't actually, someone can't aspire to be something you can't see. So this allows women to actually see what you can be, their journeys, and set the path for others.
Yeah, and I quite take your point on, the feeling of belonging to a particular sector or space by women. So how then do we push the boundaries and drive positive change within local organizations and the sector itself?
So, we've got to start with the roots. That's the starting point. You increase the pipeline, create the exposure, create the interest. And the second piece is working with those that actually are already in the sector and just keep the encouragement going, keep the flow going, keep the keep the inspiration going, and build their confidence, because we'll always be in a position in terms of we may be the first. So it's about being brave enough and confident enough to take up being the first, and just keep encouraging others and supporting others to keep on this journey when it comes to technical technology itself.
Okay.
I mean, the culture of inclusivity is so important and fundamental to any organization. And I think that's the big shift when it comes to the workplace. And then the other shift is on the systemic side in terms of encouraging more women to come in.
Okay. Let's now look at some of the local and the global trends and the issues and the opportunities facing women in the tech industry.
So there's, I think in the beginning I spoke to the fact that the trends itself indicate that there's a less take-up of women in this industry, specifically because of the lack of ability to see what they could be. There's a lot of systemic pieces coming in. There's a lot of workplace pieces coming in, and we've got to help the systemic pieces, and that's over generations of time. And look, we've made some improvements, we've made some strides, but there's further opportunity for us to make even further strides, and setting the path for other women in the organization. And I think I've mentioned the fact that there's only been a 25% take-up of women in the tech-related jobs globally, actually.
Okay, Shabhana, we're out of time, unfortunately. But how are you, as Investec, making sure that there are still opportunities for skills transfer and development for women in the tech space?
Well, it's a broad topic, and I think creating a learning culture and a learning environment is so important for women to actually, understand, focus on the literacy piece, create the exposure, just help them from a woman perspective understand more about technology. And then the second piece is around the mentorship, the role model, the support structures that we create for women. It's so critical that they feel like that is available to them and we're helping on this journey, because it is a male-dominated environment and it sometimes feels intimidating to be there. But if you've got the right support structures and the encouragement to build your confidence, I think you'll be brave enough to continue on that path and just keep more of the flow of this tech talent pipeline coming in.
All right, Shabhana, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. And I certainly hope that this will help so many young women out there who want to dominate the tech space but feel that they are not afforded equal opportunities to do so. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Simpiwe.
That was Chief Information Officer at Investec Specialist Bank, Shabhana Thaver, speaking to us about the lack of diversity, especially when it comes to women in IT industries.